The skies over the South China Sea are among the most contested and dangerous in the world. Every day, aircraft from the United States Navy and the Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force conduct patrols, reconnaissance missions, and intercept operations in these tense skies. What might look like routine flights are, in fact, moments of extreme geopolitical tension where a single wrong move could spark an international crisis. One such incident recently captured global attention. A Chinese fighter jet daring to fly dangerously close to a U.S. Navy aircraft. What happened during those tense moments? Why does this region serve as a powder keg for potential conflict? And what does this bold maneuver reveal about the evolving balance of power between Washington and Beijing? Today, we'll break down the event, its background, the aircraft involved, the political messaging behind such actions, and the broader implications for global security. The reported encounter took place during a routine surveillance flight by a U.S. Navy reconnaissance aircraft. Its mission: monitoring Chinese naval movements and gathering intelligence on military activity in the South China Sea. As the U.S. plane continued its flight path, Chinese air defense detected the aircraft entering what Beijing claims as its sovereign airspace, though the international community recognizes it as international airspace. Within minutes, a Chinese fighter jet was scrambled to intercept eyewitnesses, and released footage revealed the Chinese jet closing in at an alarmingly short distance, so close that U.S. officials later described it as unsafe and unprofessional. The American pilot reported significant turbulence caused by the jet's wake, underlining just how close the aircraft truly was. In such a scenario, even a minor miscalculation could have resulted in a mid-air collision, potentially triggering a diplomatic or even military crisis. On one side was the U.S. Navy's P-8 Poseidon, a state-of-the-art maritime patrol and reconnaissance aircraft. Built on the Boeing 737 platform, the P-8 is equipped with advanced radar, electronic surveillance systems, and anti-submarine warfare technology. Its primary role is intelligence gathering and maritime security, key tools in monitoring China's growing naval presence. On the other side was a Chinese J-16 fighter jet, one of the PLA Air Force's most advanced multi-role fighters. The J-16 is based on the Russian Su-30 design, but has been heavily modified with Chinese avionics, radar systems, and weaponry. Known for its speed and maneuverability, the J-16 is often deployed in interception missions, making it a frequent adversary to U.S. surveillance flights in the region. The encounter between a slow-moving surveillance aircraft and a fast, agile fighter jet highlights the inherent imbalance in such confrontations, one designed to monitor, the other designed to challenge and intimidate. The South China Sea is not just any stretch of ocean. It is one of the most important waterways on the planet. Every year, over $3 trillion in global trade passes through these waters. Beneath the seafloor lie rich reserves of oil and natural gas, and strategically the region acts as a gateway. Between the Pacific and Indian Oceans, China claims nearly the entire South China Sea through its controversial 9-dash line, a claim rejected by an international tribunal in 2016. Despite this ruling, Beijing has continued to build artificial islands, military bases, and runways across the region, asserting control through a show of force. For the United States, these waters are considered international territory. Washington frequently conducts freedom of navigation operations to challenge Beijing's claims and reassure allies like the Philippines, Vietnam, and Japan. Every U.S. patrol, therefore, is a direct challenge to China's expanding influence, explaining why Chinese intercepts are often so aggressive. This was not an isolated event. Over the past decade, the U.S. has reported dozens of unsafe encounters with Chinese fighter jets. In some cases, Chinese pilots have flown within mere feet of American aircraft, performing high-risk maneuvers such as barrel rolls or sudden cutoffs. In 2001, a mid-air collision between a Chinese J-8 fighter and a U.S. EP-3 reconnaissance plane led to the death of the Chinese pilot and a forced emergency landing by the American crew. That incident spiraled into a major diplomatic standoff. 2 decades later, memories of that crisis still haunt military planners, who know that history could easily repeat itself. The latest incident fits this broader pattern. Beijing signaling its dominance through intimidation, and Washington refusing to back down. It's a dangerous dance that constantly risks escalation. Why would China risk such a bold and potentially dangerous intercept? The answer lies in strategic signaling. By sending its fighter jet dangerously close, Beijing demonstrates to both domestic and international audiences that it will not tolerate U.S. surveillance near its claimed territory. For the Chinese government, these intercepts serve as propaganda victories, reinforcing the image of strength and sovereignty. For Washington, however, they are unacceptable provocations that highlight the need to maintain a strong presence in the region. Both sides are locked in a psychological battle. China seeks to deter U.S. surveillance, while the U.S. wants to prove it will not be intimidated. The skies over the South China Sea have therefore become a stage for great power rivalry, where every maneuver carries diplomatic weight. While these encounters are often resolved without violence, the risks are enormous. A collision, a misinterpreted radar lock, or a panicked missile launch could trigger a chain reaction leading to a military crisis. Analysts warn that unlike the Cold War, where the U.S. and Soviet Union established hotlines and protocols to prevent accidental escalation, the U.S. and China lack robust communication mechanisms. This means that in the event of an accident, confusion and miscalculation could quickly spiral out of control. The consequences would not be confined to the South China Sea. An armed clash could draw in U.S. allies, disrupt global trade, and destabilize the entire Asia-Pacific region. This encounter reflects the broader competition between the U.S. and China. Washington views Beijing as its primary strategic rival of the 21st century. From trade wars to technological competition and military modernization, both nations are vying for dominance on multiple fronts. The South China Sea is just one arena in this global rivalry, but it is among the most dangerous. For China, controlling these waters cements its rise as a maritime power. For the U.S., maintaining free access ensures its role as a global guarantor of security. These opposing objectives mean that incidents like the recent jet encounter are unlikely to disappear anytime soon. What does the future hold? Experts suggest that unless both sides establish clearer rules of engagement and communication protocols, dangerous intercepts will continue. Diplomatic talks have been attempted but often collapse amid broader tensions over Taiwan. Trade and military buildups. For now, U.S. surveillance flights will continue, and Chinese fighter jets will almost certainly keep intercepting them. Each encounter will be a test of nerves, professionalism, and restraint. The world can only hope that pilots on both sides continue to exercise caution in these tense skies. The incident of a Chinese fighter jet daring to fly, too, close to a U.S. Navy aircraft is more than just a military maneuver. It is a snapshot of the fragile balance between two great powers. It reveals how quickly routine patrols can escalate into dangerous confrontations, and how the South China Sea has become a focal point for 21st century rivalry. As technology advances and tensions deepen, the margin for error grows thinner. Whether the future brings cooperation, confrontation, or outright conflict remains uncertain, but what is certain is that the world is watching closely. If you found this deep dive into U.S. China military encounters insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more long-form documentaries on global security, military technology, and the geopolitics shaping our future.